Henry continues to blame Hars for what happened. Hars knows the hotel manager won't lie. Henry feels bad towards Hars, but this is necessary to bring out Ban. Hars kneels and apologizes. However, he asks for one day to clear up things on his end. Henry then mentions Ban's name. He sees Hars trembling and concludes that Ban is just hiding somewhere nearby. Henry asks for Ban's whereabouts, but Hars won't say anything about him. Just then, Hars brings out a summon card. A man sleeping dreams about Henry's execution. He wakes up sweating as he recalls the strongest man in the history of the continent. Ben wonders why Henry treated the dirty nobles like humans. After Henry's execution, Ben returns to his Enkelman to protect the city. He notices that Hars is asking for help. He immediately sets out and meets Henry in Hars' office. Ben menacingly asks for his identity. Henry introduces himself, and the usual reaction appears. Ben lets out killing intent, but it is ineffective against Henry. Henry then claims he is the one who solved the recent issue. Ben asks for Hars' whereabouts. Henry let Hars stay in his bedroom to reflect on his mistakes. Ben wonders how Henry knew about Ban's existence. Henry then asks if Ban likes cold green tea. Ben gets surprised. It is the same tea that Henry served Ban before. Henry then claims that his master told him to come to Enkelman. He introduces himself as the great magician's disciple. Ben gets mad and claims that it is an obvious lie. Henry claims he speaks the truth. Ben breaks the table in half and claims that he has been beside the great magician the whole time. Henry feels glad that Ban is still acting as his guard knight. Henry then asks if Biane still has loyalty towards the great magician. Ben thinks the Henry in front of him is someone sent by the nobles. He hesitates to answer. Ben pulls out his sword and sings praises about the great magician. Henry laughed, and that made Ban furious. Henry tells him to calm down, and he will prove that he is the great magician's disciple. Henry holds out his hand and lets out the blue dragon's spirit magic sigil. Ben clearly remembers that the great magician uses it as a source of his magic. Henry also brings out a treasure map showing where his past self's treasures are buried. Ben can't believe what he is seeing. Henry bows down to him with respect and thanks Ben for his undying loyalty to the great magician. Later, Henry claims he plans to get revenge for their master's wrongful death. Ben also thought of that, but it is easier said than done. Henry knows that Ban was scared to do it alone. He knows that Ban is torn between getting revenge and protecting his hometown. Ben can't say anything. Henry then points out that if they leave the nobles be, they will take over the city sooner or later. Enkelman is a profitable city, and the nobles are just waiting for the right moment to act. Henry then uses the recent incident as an example. Ben knows that their city is weak against unexpected events. Henry then offers his help until the city grows to the point that the nobles wouldn't dare take it over. He swears that Enkelman will be the best managed city. Ben wonders how he can do that. Henry proudly claims that he already has Vivaldi in his hands. Ben asks how Henry did it. Henry claims he beat the mayor in a game of chess. The city is now secretly under his command, including the biggest arena. It will be easy for him to manage Enkelman too. However, Ben thinks he must take part in the revenge plan. Henry knows Ben still doubts him, so he asks for a duel to prove himself. Henry then announces his magic and swordsmanship levels. Ben can't believe Henry is still a sword runner despite serving in the Caliburn fortress. Henry tells Ben to judge him later, after the duel. Ben hopes Henry won't disappoint him. Ben then leads Henry to a practice hall hidden underground. Henry then claims that he is still lacking in many ways compared to Ben. Ben wonders if Henry is scared now, but Henry only claims he is setting the minimum standard for Ben's expectations. Ben claims he will give his approval if Henry hits him with 3 valid strikes. Henry thanks him and gets into position. Ben recognizes the Empire's swordsmanship. It was a style created by Golden Jackson, and Ben also learned it. Ben offers the first move, and Henry charges forward with speed. Ben doesn't recognize Henry's movement. Henry is able to land a valid strike on Ben. Ben underestimated Henry and plans to get serious now. Ben then lets out his killing intent. It is strong enough to freeze Henry's feet. Henry can see that Ben has gotten stronger. He then plans to use his magic armor and Hector's swordsmanship. Ben attacks Henry, but Henry is able to block the heavy strike. Ben is impressed, but he lets out another heavy strike. Henry blocks, but Ben keeps up his fast attacks. Henry only blocks and realizes that this is how the real Ben fights. Henry gets cornered, and Ben swings a heavy strike. Instead of hitting Henry, Ben hits the wall. Ben gets mad that Henry is not proving his skills and is just running. Henry plans to get serious now. Henry invokes haste and dodges Ben's attack. Ben gets surprised as Henry strikes his shoulder. Ben backs off a bit and tries for another vertical slash. Henry uses blink, and Ben is surprised that Henry is using magic and swordsmanship at the same time. Henry appears from behind and points his sword at Ben's neck. Henry apologizes for using magic, but Ben understands that it is part of his power. Ben recognizes Henry's strength as a magic swordsman. Ben now agrees to participate in the revenge plan. Ben then orders Henry to call him his older brother instead of using too many formal honorifics. Ben then visits Hars and introduces Henry as his brother. Ben tells him to respect Henry like him. Henry tells him not to worry too much. Later, Hars headaches hearing about making a city management team. Henry claims that the nobles will jump on them if they see the city lose its effectiveness. Hars wonders how they can do it. Henry then suggests a pact between Ankelman and Vivaldi. It will be a type of exchange where both cities will rely on each other. Hars asks if it will be related to debt, but Henry disagrees. Hars worries because Mayor Vanti will say no to this plan because this is Vivaldi's loss. Henry tells Hars to just sign the pact because he also has Vivaldi under his control. Ben claims that it all makes sense. Having two cities under his control, Henry won't worry about his funds running out. Ben then mentions that the management team is not needed for this. Henry tells Ben that he will be affiliated with the Million Mercenary Group. It is easy to gain fame, and you might do so that way. If Ben joins the mercenary group, a professional management group should take over Ankelman. Hars just realized that he is being looked down on. Ben tells Hars to listen and comply. Henry calms them down, and he mentions that this is only to lessen the burden on Hars' side. Hars realizes that they are turning into Henry's puppets, and Henry didn't deny it. Henry asks why they shouldn't be. Hars can't answer straight because he is already living as a slave with the title of mayor. Henry tells him that this is a chance to enjoy the rest of his life. Henry will make Ankelman the best city. Henry offers Hars a comfortable life as long as he listens to him. Hars feels liberated, and Ben can't help but find Hars pathetic. Ben now confirms that Henry is indeed the disciple of the great magician. Hars thanks Henry with all his heart, and Henry finds him cute. Henry then looks for the hotel manager and his attackers. He heads out to meet them. However, they find them stressed out. They ask for the antidote. Henry gives out the antidote, and the hotel manager runs on his own. The other three panic and ask for their share. Henry tells them that it was only one, and the three run away to chase down the hotel manager. Ben wonders why they are acting like that. Henry tells him that he poisoned them. Ben gets scared, but Henry claims he only tricked them because they deserved it for attacking him. After some business in Ankelman, Henry heads to Vivaldi with Ben. Henry asks if Ben knows the nobles who support his petty self. However, Ben doesn't know them after Henry told them to scatter. If Henry hadn't told them to hide, they would have died like him. Henry wonders what happened to the people under his protection. Ben claims that they were banished, surprising Henry. He recalls the king claiming to spare them. Henry gets furious. Ben further claims that they were in the far north, in Salgera. Salgera is basically a frozen field. Henry grieves knowing that they were sent to die there. Ben notices Henry's mood, and the two are silent on their journey to Vivaldi. The two arrive at Vivaldi. Ben is impressed by the housing, and Ten greets them. Henry introduces Ben as the vice head of their mercenary group. The two shake hands as Ten swears he heard the name Ben somewhere. Ten asks if he was the palace's sword master, and Henry confirms it. Ten freaks out and bows down to Ben. Henry tells Ten not to make a fuss out of it and asks for the tasks left to Ten. There are 10 reports that no one has passed the first test since Hegler did it. 10 people claim that no mercenary group will be formed if no one passes the entrance test. Ben gets curious and asks to try it himself. Henry claims it will be boring for Ben. However, Ben just wants to warm up. Henry then heads out to meet Vanti. On the way, Henry meets Hegler and his family. The daughter, Nia, shyly greets Henry and drops her food in the process. Henry picks her up and asks if she would like a better gift than the strawberry. Henry gives Nia a necklace that suits her. Hegler gets flustered, but Henry claims he is just looking out for his subordinate's daughter. Henry then tells Nia that she can hear the voices of fairies using the necklace. He advises her to just eavesdrop. Henry also tells Hegler to meet the new vice chief later. Henry continues his walk and reaches Vanti's place. Henry asks for the progress of tax collection. They were able to gain much more than expected. Henry then starts discussing the agreement between Vivaldi and Enkelman. Venti wonders if it is necessary because Vivaldi is already flourishing. Henry claims that there will be a benefit sooner or later. Venti still worries, but Henry asks for his trust. Venti hesitates, and Henry abruptly stands up. He will visit again to discuss the terms. Venti's head aches as Henry heads out. Henry arrives at the training center and discovers a smaller number of people. Just then, a passer has been announced, and Henry discovers that it is just Ban. It seems like Ban and Ten planned it out to motivate the others. During dinner, Henry decides to fully make Ten one of his people. He then invites Ten for a drink later. Henry asks Ten if he hates him. Ten doesn't deny what happened to him. Henry then suggests expanding a business together. Ten wonders why Henry trusts him and why he is creating such a heavy atmosphere. Henry then claims that he wants to dominate the continent and that the Million Group is only his first step. He then asks Ten to be his official business partner, and he will make him the Gold King. Ten didn't hesitate and agreed to Henry's deal. They later look for a professional management team. Henry gives up looking at the management guild. Ten remembers something and suggests recruiting some former professionals in the back alley. They arrive at a loan office, and the guards start mocking Ten. Henry takes action, and the other guards attack him. It didn't take a minute for them to be lying on the ground and a bald man appeared. Hai Sha recognizes Henry, and he immediately leads the guests to the underground prison. There are various debtors in the prisons, and Hai Sha calls out the experienced accountants. Henry notices the youngest debtor and introduces himself as Harris. He begs to be hired. Henry asks for the amount of their debts, but Hai Sha is willing to give them out for free. Henry then suggests calculating the laundry money, and Hai Sha gets flustered. Henry then complains that his clothes got dirty by Hai Sha's men. Hai Sha offers to compensate with money, but Henry thinks of something else. Henry wants all debtors to be released to him. Hai Sha tries to decline, but Henry claims his men almost killed them. Hai Sha doesn't have a choice but to release the debtors. Henry decided to give the prisoners a second chance. Everyone thanks him, but Henry brings them somewhere first. Henry arrives at the clothing shop and places a bulk order for the expensive brand of clothing. The manager wonders who will wear it and freaks out seeing the filthy debtors. The debtors later came out wearing new clothes. The debtors thank Henry again. Henry tells them to get to work now. He needs the agreement between Vivaldi and Enkelman. They swear to make it perfect. Soon after, Henry presents the contract to Vanti. Vanti hopes that there will be no harm to them, and Henry assures him. Henry asks how the new accountants are doing, and Vanti is happy that things are proceeding smoothly. Vanti stamps the contract as he feels happy with their profits lately. Harris arrives as Henry's personal accountant. Harris reports another set of profits. Vanti wonders why there is a separate report. Henry then claims they shouldn't report everything to the Empire. Henry plans to hide the special tax as their secret fund, and Vanti gets his share. Henry asks if it is not enough, but Vanti is more than happy to receive it. After Henry and Ten form a professional management team, Ben brings the team and the contract back to Enkelman. Ten wonders what the next plan is and claims that every second counts. Henry can see that Ten is motivated now. Henry will head out to Saljera next to find people there. Ten worries because it is the place of the exiled and the guards prevent civilians from passing the gates. Henry suggests using bribes, but Ten suggests something different. Henry can register as a mercenary in the Mercenary Guild and enter Saljera under the pretext of a mission. The Mercenary Guild is handled by the government. Henry is the one who built this system in the past. Inside the Mercenary Guild, Ten comes with the information that there is a mission that will help him get to Saljera. It is a simple escort mission, but the one who requested it is related to the Empire. Henry wonders why they are using private contractors when they can do it themselves. Ten claims they are trying to reduce the transport fees, and Henry is suspicious of that rumor. Ten then adds that the brigade manager can help them so Henry can join the mission. He also managed to register Henry as a B-rank mercenary. Henry gets his papers and mercenary card. He also gets the mission papers and discovers that they are from the paint industry. Henry later prepares his equipment for the mission. He also plans to modify Hegler's horse. Hegler arrives, and Henry gives him his equipment. Hegler hesitates, but Henry claims he is only guaranteeing the best treatment for his men. The next morning, Henry and Hegler join the escort group. The chief wonders why there are only 2 people from the Million Group. Henry assures him that they have the skills. Just then, people from the Hound mercenary group confront them. Billy starts mocking Henry's group for having small numbers despite the large advertisement for recruitment. Henry laughs and claims that Billy looks familiar. He recalls Billy failing the tests. The chief stops them, but Billy is now holding a grudge against Henry. Other mercenaries continue talking badly about Henry. Hegler is mad, but Henry tells him to let them be. However, it didn't take long for Hegler to latch out and start attacking the mercenaries, including Henry. Billy tries to pull out his sword, but Henry lets out his intense bloodlust. It is enough to make Billy breathless. Henry stops Hegler, and the latter easily complies. Henry removes his bloodlust, and Billy gasps for air. Hegler apologizes, especially for the food he spilled. Henry asks Hegler if he knows about the subspace pocket. Henry laughs as he brings out lavish food from the subspace pocket. Several days later, the escort team finally arrives in Slan Gorge. Slan Gorge is known as Salgera's first gate. The chief warns them that bandits are in the area. They continue their tracks, and something suddenly explodes at the back. Bandits appear, but Henry recognizes the military equipment on them. Billy and his group confidently move forward. He tells Henry to stay back. Henry complies. The bandits then let out order, surprising Henry. Henry tries to alert the leader, but the leader smiles ominously. The Hound mercenaries charge forward with confidence. However, Henry witnesses how they are being slaughtered by the bandits. Billy tries to reorganize his group, but they are already surrounded. Billy got captured and asked to be killed. Just when a bandit tries to kill him, Henry throws a sword at the bandit. Henry tells Hegler that it is now their turn. The bandits charge forward toward them. Henry uses the magic grease to make the bandits slip on the path. Henry orders Hegler to take them down. Hegler knew Henry was an incredible man. Hegler chases down the bandits and kills them one by one. Billy wonders how the two of them can defeat such a number. Henry asks Hegler to take the useless man back to the carriage. Another bandit appears, and Henry recognizes him as the boss. Henry stops Hegler, and he pulls out his sword. He wants to be the boss himself. The bandit then raises his sword, which shows that he is a sword master. Henry is glad that he is the one to take care of the boss.